Hello, everybody. This is Alyssia and Liz, and we are Yellowjackets Decoded. And we're back to take a deep dive into season 3, episode 4, titled Old Wounds. Hi, Liz.
Hi,
Welcome. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Good.
We were talking about how we were not disappointed with the episode. I felt cheated on the adult van front
I know.
on the Lauren Ambrose, 50 seconds of screen time.
I know. Me too. I felt cheated too.
I said, why would you hire a goddess, incredible actress like her, and wait until episode 5 to utilize her?
Right. And, it wouldn't bother me so much if I didn't think they could have used her sooner, but I think that they could have used her sooner.
I agree.
Yeah.
And that's
I mean,
why
even if just at the start of this episode as opposed to the end. But I think we could have introduced her as soon as episode 3. I understand like 1 and 2 were still sort of coming out of the finale of the previous season, but
I think a lot of people felt like not a lot happened in this
Mhm.
episode. And so
Right.
maybe that's why I'm feeling the loss of
Mhm.
what could have been with Adult Van more.
Yeah. And I felt that too, like when the episode ended. It took me a little bit of thinking to feel like, okay, well, maybe more happened than than I felt like in the immediate ending of the episode. Because when it ended, I was like, okay, so where are we at now that was any different from where we were at the beginning of the episode?
Yeah. Other than Hobby.
But yeah, exactly. We have Javi and we had
Hobby back.
Hallucinations that I'm sure are important.
We do not have a hatch and we do not have Adult Van really.
Oh.
But
it would have been cool if there was a hatch, and when she got down there, Javi was on a bike machine listening to, I forget what Desmond's song was.
I don't remember.
If sing along. I don't know. Anyways, I can hear it in my head. I just can't get it out.
I remember that old quote by Linda Loft. What's the most intriguing answer to a mystery? A person.
Ah, I like that.
I'm sure I butchered that, but yeah.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
That would be Desmond.
Yeah, Desmond. Yeah. Your own kind of music. Play your own kind of music.
There you go.
There we go.
Good job, Alyssia.
Thank you. I wasn't going to be able to move on until I could at least sing line.
I know.
All right. Well, let's dive in and get to talking about it. So the episode opens. And well, before we do that, why don't you kind of briefly lay out what you felt some of the themes of the episode were?
Yeah. So I'll watch the episode and then I'll rewatch and then watch a third time. And then when I'm writing my notes, I tend to see some themes appearing. What I wrote down was trust and then cost benefit analysis of buying into or opening up to a belief system. You can shorten that to fears or gains around being open to something you don't believe in, and then searching. Each character is searching for something. I mean, yeah, they are in every episode, but
right, yeah,
that's what stood out.
And I also felt like there was some pushback against denial.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of denial happening in general. And I thought in this episode, we saw some pushback against that, like in different ways. Even, if you take Shauna's story, the fact that she felt like everything was going to be okay now that she came clean to Callie.
Quote unquote.
Yeah. Clean. Allegedly. And yeah, like you said, Shauna and Jeff are just still lying to each other.
Littler lies, but yeah, still lies.
Exactly.
Same with Callie. I'm going out, truth to with Alana, not true.
Yeah.
And then later, I'm not going out, true, but leaves out the part about the older man,
right? /
undercover cop she's been hanging out with. So yeah. That kind of falls into the trust.
It does. You're right.
And being feared, gain around being open to something you don't believe in, the opposite, being so afraid of something that you're denying its existence or pushing back against.
Yeah. It's easier to ignore it, pretend like it's not the immediate problem that it could be.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm an avoider myself, so I understand that.
Oh God. Me too.
So the
Avoid,
episode
ignore.
opens with Van and Ty looking for what these symbols, the symbol on the trees.
I found it interesting that Van is mapping them secretly.
Me too. What do you make of that?
Well, it's similar to why are Coach Ben and Nat mapping secretly. I think Coach said we don't want to get the girls' hopes up, or we don't want to, worry them with what we're learning about just how far into the wilderness we are.
Yeah.
How much wilderness is around us.
Yeah.
I think that was the rationale given.
I mean, I can understand like they're marking because they want to make sure they know they've covered a certain area. But yeah, it does seem like Van is doing it possibly for a different reason, maybe.
More mystical
reasons.
Yeah.
And I think that we're kind of seeing little by little, and we brought this up during episode 3, just the maybe erosion of the relationship, the trusting relationship that Van and Ty have created, because
which makes me so sad.
Yeah, me too.
Van is so open to Ty, and she's literally begging her, won't you please just talk to Lottie? Won't you please be open to this? Can't you look at, like, why can you not see what's right in front of you? Why do you refuse to see what's right in front of you? Will you please come look for this tree with me, the symbol? She's so open, and she's so sweet, and she's so good with Ty.
She is. She really is.
And Ty is just so afraid of what's happening. I mean, my God, imagine learning that your altar somehow knows a lot about the weirdness that's going on around you. How could it?
Right.
It makes no sense.
And then to not have access to that.
Right.
Yeah.
That would be so frightening.
Absolutely.
I would be hiding under a blanket.
Yeah, me too. I wouldn't want to like leave the building.
No, I wouldn't leave my bed. I wouldn't leave my blanket. Yeah. I would say, I'm just pretend I'm not here, guys.
Yeah.
I don't need bear meat. I'm okay.
But yeah, I do see Van beginning to like have some kind of, well, I don't know. I thought, well, I don't want to go hop to the end of the episode, but there were some interesting developments there too, I thought, in terms of Van taking up for Ty, being like, hey, she's having important hallucinations too. It's not just Lottie.
Right.
So that was,
and we also see Van continue to kind of guiltily move between Ty and Lottie.
Right, exactly.
Like, is it okay, Ty, if I?
Yeah, she's trying to figure out, like, searching for meaning, for answers.
She's open. In the past, she's very open to what might be happening around them that they can't explain. And Ty is shut down.
Yeah.
Versus present day, Ty's being, well, she's literally coming face to face.
Right.
With her altar.
Can you break down the what your thoughts are on the scene where Ty is in the apartment trying to piece together what her altar has been doing?
Yeah, I just saw it as similar to last week when Ty kind of comes to in the hospital room with Simone. She's coming to in Jessica Roberts' apartment, and instead of being left to be in control, the altar's like, look, I'm done waiting for you. This is what I've been doing. Here's what I'm doing. I told you, go to Van, go to her. Here's the file. Here's the info. Now let's go. Come on. And then she takes over again. And then poor Ty wakes up in the car. On the side of the road, empty tank of gas.
Yeah.
So Ty's losing a lot of time, basically.
Yeah, a lot.
And having more, quote unquote, FaceTime with her altar. I don't think she's sleeping much, because when she's not awake, the altar is. Right. She doesn't seem to be eating much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's
she wasn't looking good.
No.
Do you think that we will see Ty, like that we will get time with Ty's altar? Or we'll actually see, like, instead of just seeing the aftermath of it, we would live in the present moment with her altar?
Right. I looked back. Okay, so you taught me this trick of looking back over previous season, same numbered episodes for connections. So I looked back at season 1, episode 4, where they're having the contest for who's the ultimate gun handler.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Right. Nice.
So contest. episodes, number 4.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so in that episode, I watched a little bit past the contest piece, and we see Ty at the fundraiser. She's trying to woo that woman who's a big potential supporter donor for her campaign.
Right.
And the woman turns out to be a nasty piece of work, basically kind of blackmailing or, trying to leverage her money and support for Ty's secrets about what happened out there. Some of my friends call me a wishing well. They just whisper their secrets into my ear, and I don't ever tell. So you tell me. And so the actress that plays Ty, I think we've talked about this, that she's doing something really interesting with her eyes. When it's the altar, it's this narrowing of the eyes and an intensity of the gaze.
Right.
And in that moment, when Ty's faced with, do I give up part of my secret self for this money and support? Can I tell this woman to fuck off? Do I walk away gracefully? Can I salvage this? I think we saw Ty's altar come forward. Because we see the eyes narrow, and Ty, in a very un-Ty-like fashion, the woman says, watch your tone. And Ty's like, well, then let me gently calibrate my tone as I tell you to fuck off.
Yeah.
To that effect. But that seemed very altar-like.
That's a really good point. Yeah.
The altar's the protector. She takes over when she feels like Ty or the group are in jeopardy.
Yeah, and can't handle something.
I think she thought, like Ty might actually take this deal. So let me just slip in for a minute.
No, that's good. That makes sense. That's a great catch and observation.
Well, it's just a theory, but
yeah,
watch for yourself.
Yeah.
See if you see it.
All right. So next we head to the kitchen where Shauna and Jeff are in the morning, and they're having just a great little morning chat.
Aww.
And that was tough. I feel for Jeff so much. And I don't know. I saw such a, maybe like a common dynamic when you have the situation where when he tried to make the comment about the affair, and she could tell how he was feeling about that she kind of came back at him defensively.
Oh, yeah.
Which
to his credit,
it's just so complicated that you're just like, sorry, Shauna.
I know.
Like, I understand, I get it, but also, I think that there could have been a bit more empathy to the fact that, people know and how that might be affecting Jeff.
Yeah.
In my mind, I was just like, if you don't have anything to say in that moment to make him feel better, that's fine, fair, but maybe just don't say anything.
Don't say anything at all.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, to her credit, she comes back, and
yes, she does. Yeah.
And
I was glad that she did that.
I could understand Jeff being salty with Shauna telling another blatant lie.
Exactly.
Our tow truck company just happened to find our
man, come on. And like, I don't know. The thing is that like, and I guess you don't really have like a show and you don't have drama if you don't have these moments,
right,
where the lie is able to continue in some way. But did she really think at this point that he was going to believe that, or that she even needed to lie about it? Really?
I know.
So
I'm going to say,
yeah,
after 25 years of lying, it's it's her natural.
Yeah, that's true.
Way.
That's true. I get that. Yeah.
But yeah, they've just opened up to each other. And this, I was so disappointed this episode that, come on, you guys.
Yeah.
You've come so close.
It takes time. I get that too. Like, it takes time if they're going to reconcile that, to get rid of some of the like bad habits or bad patterns and stuff like that. It does take a lot to like retrain your brain to not avoid something that you don't need to avoid anymore, or that you shouldn't avoid anymore. So I do have empathy for that. But I just thought that was something that she just didn't need to lie about. She could have just looked at it and been like, yeah, I went and got it
with a gun.
Everything's good here.
No, I think that's a really good point about retraining yourself not to have to lie about every little thing.
Exactly. Yeah. And go, okay, like I don't, for whatever reason. But yeah, it does take time to go, okay. I guess because I think that like when we've been through trauma, even our like body, but our body and our mind kind of will go into whatever its like normal, safe defense mechanism is.
We become very protective.
Yeah. When you feel threatened, or when so what you have to like retrain yourself to be like, okay, we're not in danger, or we're not under threat, or even if this feels scary, like I still have to deal with it and face it. I can't not do that. But you're having to like teach yourself that.
Another excellent point. Yeah, you have to train yourself and find comfort in vulnerability, trusting the people around you.
Exactly.
Yeah. I loved that Callie strolled in and did her own little partial lie or partial truth. I'm going out tonight with Alana.
Yeah. I thought her arc through the episode was really interesting, even though she wasn't there much. I found like there was definitely some forward movement with her character and her relationship with Shauna.
I still really don't like Callie.
Yeah, well, I don't either.
My brain kind of shuts down when I see her. But I will say, I think this was the most I enjoyed her, was her talk with Shauna.
Yeah.
I loved their dynamic as mother and daughter.
I do too. I think it's interesting though because she seemed quite upset at what Shauna shared with her.
Yeah.
I did kind of wish that did Shauna tell her that her dad had been the one that did the blackmailing?
Yeah.
She did tell her that. Okay.
Yeah. Callie's like, I knew dad didn't have anything to do with this. And then Shauna says, well, actually, he was the blackmailer.
Yeah. Now, the problem was that she didn't say why, because she says, why would your dad do that? And she's like, I don't know.
Right.
Now, that's the part that bothered me, because I'm like, you've gone this far with it. And to just say that he was blackmailing you guys paints him in a bad light as well. So the fact that she doesn't know why, I don't think is helpful.
No, maybe she just doesn't want Callie to worry about money problems.
Yeah, but it's okay for her to worry that her mom murdered somebody.
Yeah. I don't think Shauna's thinking clearly right now, but
Shauna's got issues.
Yeah.
But I guess I felt confused by Callie's reaction, because in the moment she was upset, understandably so. If that's the route we're going to go, cool. But then at the end, when she came back in and she seemed to accept things and then wanted to be a part of the family, I didn't expect that turn, that twist. What did you?
Yeah, I didn't even think about the logic of dad's a blackmailer, but not going into why. Like letting Callie believe that her dad was just trying to extort people for money.
Right, which I just thought was
shitty.
Yeah.
With Callie's reaction, I think Callie is terrified of her mom. And now kind of worried about her parents now that they're more of a unit. And she's going into protective mode. I'm going to play along, do what I need to do to stay safe. And in the meantime, I've got this older man that I can talk to. I see some unhealthy behavior that makes me worry about Callie.
Interesting. So do you think that do you think that she might still be taking, I wonder if she has some kind of idea that she's going to turn her parents in.
I wonder.
Yeah. I hadn't even thought about that. I was just like, this is a strange 180. Well, maybe she's feeling this way because she finally felt like they were honest with her and included her, and she feels part of the family again. But that just didn't sit right with me after her initial reaction.
Yeah, I don't know if the writers are meaning to convey that Callie is so very much her mother's daughter, or if Callie is genuinely terrified.
Yeah.
And wondering what to do.
Yeah.
Willing to turn her mom in, at least.
Right. Well, yeah, we'll find out, I'm sure. Yeah. Great. So after that, we go to Nat and Lottie.
More lying. Yeah. What are you doing today? Going to the bank. What are you doing? Going to the farmer's market with Lisa to bond. But you clocked Lottie with the cabinet, that black cabinet that Nat has keys to currently. That Lottie seemed very protective of, making sure that cabinet's locked up tight.
I wonder what is in there. Oh, is that, no, because we see her at an altar of some kind. So I was just wondering if perhaps
Cabinet altar?
Yeah, cabinet altar.
Ooh, I'd
Yeah.
love to see a cabinet altar.
Yeah. Lottie seems a little scared of Nat.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't want her to know things. I
I-
guess that's part of what I'm trying to understand is why they don't want each other to know things.
Mhm.
I wonder if that's something that is there just for like character angst and mystery and to build and create drama, or if there is a bigger reason for it.
Yeah. Were they in different groups
Mm-hmm.
in the past? I've been hearing this and reading this online that everyone was expecting Lottie to be this big bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm having so much more empathy for her in past and present day. She seems very genuine.
Yeah, I agree.
In her desire to do good and be good.
Yeah.
I don't think the cult is this nefarious thing,
Yeah.
which is surprising for me.
Yeah, I agree, and I feel the same way. And I did expect her to be some kind of a negative force, but yeah, I see her more as just also another victim of the circumstances and of what this trauma and the secrets, has done to her. I think overall that's the big thing that we're looking at is how this trauma has affected each one of these people in different ways.
And it makes me totally rethink the whole antler queen ideas that we've had.
Yeah.
Could you see Lottie in the past spearheading ritualized killing?
Right. How are you feeling about like whether or not there's anybody out there still?
Oh, I 100% believe there are others.
Yeah.
I believe there are tunnels, mining tunnels.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of the melting of the snow where people keep going,
Right.
weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely a heat source underneath.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that would also explain Travis's vision, the tree stump with the lights, the points of light coming out of it. Where they found Hobby was where the hook would have been in the symbol based on Van's map.
Yeah, he's definitely been with somebody.
Out there. I wrote, how could Hobby have survived out there alone? Jackie couldn't do it for one night with a fire and a blanket.
Yeah. I would say that the only options are this is a ghost hobby, which I don't think that's the case. Or he's been living somewhere else with someone else. That seems to be the most logical thing.
Maybe scavenging between the two groups. Like stealing a lantern and bear meat from the girls, stealing warmth from the others in the tunnels.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because I know you wrote like who's stealing the bear meat.
Yeah, it's another mystery. We have the missing lantern, the poop in the piss bucket. Something else went missing, I believe, and now the bear meat.
Yeah.
I think so
you're thinking it's Hobby.
Hobby and others. Or Hobby's been, because Hobby was dirty when they found him.
He was, but he also wasn't like, you said he was dirty?
He was dirty, but he wasn't disheveled.
Right. That's what I was gonna say is that like his hair wasn't exceptionally long. It's not like now, okay, pause on that for a moment.
Right.
The actor himself looked significantly older. Was I just imagining that because we haven't seen him in so long?
Taller,
right? Yeah.
And older. Yeah.
So I mean, they're teenagers and whatnot, and that happens. It made me think of Walt, Lost. And I remember they had to figure out what to do.
They made him kneel down in the boat.
Like, what do we do? He grew up, but our time hasn't gone up, That was why it was nice that they were able to like bring him back for a little cameo later on after we skipped through time, because that was kind of funny. But so it did make me think of that. But I don't think that's meant to be a thing. But it did seem that it was still meant to be that like he's looking too clean cut enough for him to have been like out in the wilderness unkempt or uncared for as long as he has been. So
I agree.
What are your thoughts on Nat and Lisa and where that's heading?
I don't see anything big coming. I saw it as more Nat coming to terms with Lottie, her thoughts about Lottie and the cult. What did you think?
I think you're probably right. I felt pretty confident that like the two groups, the split was going to have sort of Lottie at the head of one and Nat at the head of the other, which was making sense to me too as to why we see Nat and Lottie together in the present.
Right.
But then at the end of this episode, when Van speaks up and we start talking about like Ty and her capabilities versus Lottie's in terms of like power and what they're able to do and call in and see, then I was like, well, are they gonna be the heads of the different groups? And I guess that makes sense, especially we have Ty as a leader like in the present day. I wasn't sure what to make of it. I didn't know if she was being manipulative.
Yeah.
Or if she was being genuine. Maybe it was a little bit of both, or maybe it started as manipulative and became genuine.
I wrote the same thing in my notes. Nat and Lisa, Nat quickly coming to Lisa's defense against her mom around the cult. I think that's also showed, like, that's who Nat is. She's a protector, provider. She's very empathetic.
I also think that she cares about truth. Whatever is true for Lisa is the important thing.
Well, we get that rehash of what Travis said to Nat, I think in the first episode when they were hunting, regarding Lottie's and protective whatever's, just because you don't believe in something doesn't mean you can't be open to it, doesn't mean it couldn't have benefit. I forget the line, but
right, yeah.
When Nat's like, if it's working for her, what's the
big deal? Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah, that's true.
Who cares what it is, as long as it works.
So we see that like influence on her in the present day from the past.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Well, from there, we go to Misty and Walt on their road trip, which was just adorable.
I loved this.
So great.
Do not trust Walt at all.
No, not at all.
Okay, the show tunes, you dropped a Sweeney Todd reference in one of your... okay, there's a podcast that I love. They cover Yellowjackets. And I try not to listen to it before I do my notes. But I broke down and listened to part of it. And they floated a theory. I don't think that they came up with it, but they got it from a listener, that Walt may be trying to capture Misty as a serial killer. Oh, shit. Because if you go back to episode 1 on the Citizens Detective board, Reddit board, there's a thread about the, Pensacola poisoner, whatever it is. It's a town that's near New Jersey. And you think about Misty and how she got rid of Jessica. In an interview with the actress that plays young Misty, she says something to the effect of, Jessica couldn't have been her first guest down there in that basement prison because it was all set up. The James and the Misty's had other prisoners. Yeah. How many times do you think she's pulled a Jessica? True. What if she's this, whatever the town is? Wait, so you're saying, what if Misty is a serial killer? Yeah. Dang, that'd be interesting. And this is Walt trying to get close to her to take her down. Oh. And this is not my theory. It's what I heard on a podcast that I love, covering Yellowjackets, that they got from a listener who wrote in, I believe. I thought it was fascinating. That is very fascinating. Yeah. I mean, that's a really cool theory. I'm certainly not going to say it couldn't happen. It does seem like a pretty big plot twist. And I'm not sure like how that would work into the story on a larger scale, other than what I was saying earlier about how, how did each person deal with the trauma? Right. I do think that Misty is a sociopath. I don't see Misty being very traumatized out there in the past. But maybe that's why. Because she's a sister. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I think I'm saying what you just said. That I don't think she's dealing with a lot of trauma. She's the one that smashed the radio. Yeah. Like obviously she likes to be in control, but any of her emotion. Well, and to that point too, last week she was getting that lesson in how to be different people. Ooh. That's right. I jumped at the idea of her being a serial killer because she works around medications. Yeah. No, I love it for sure. I watched it recently. There's a documentary, but it's about a nurse. The Good Nurse? Yeah, The Good Nurse. Thank you. Yeah. Yes. Killed over like a big number of patients. So many.
Yeah.
just with the wrong meds
Hmm.
and the right system.
And
That,
yeah, or the bubble in the IV, or yeah.
right.
Yeah, so it's definitely not out of the realm of possibility. I think that would be really interesting.
I think we know Elijah's going to die.
Yeah, I think so. But she is intrigued enough to let him in a little.
He says all the right things.
He does, though. And that's like huge red flags. And she knows it. She knows those are red flags.
But she wants it so badly.
Exactly.
And it feels so good.
Exactly.
And I think in the back of her mind, we're seeing what we saw with Jessica.
Mm-hmm.
You're flattering me. You're saying all the right things. I love what you're saying. I love what you're posing. Here are your cigarettes.
Right. I do like the affinity for show tunes on this show.
I thought of you, and I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, it's very fun.
What are your thoughts on Starlight Express?
It made me laugh. That reference made me laugh. I actually do have thoughts on Starlight Express. I very much don't like it.
I was trying to write down the quote, what Misty said. She's like, oh, right. A story about Cinderella where everyone's a train.
Yeah.
And I wrote, that can't be right. Is that correct?
No, it's not. But that was the only thing I could think of that it was. I was like, what is she talking? Like, that was literally my first thought. I was like, is she talking about Starlight Express? Because that's about like people are on, but I guess it is. Like in my mind, it's people on roller skates.
Right.
But I forgot that that's supposed to represent
a train.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then I thought, running a train on Cinderella, that's not very nice. What? I couldn't make sense of it.
Sky Daddy. Yes. Okay, so from there we get back to the cabin. We're singing. Travis is upset, and Shauna comes in upset because somebody has been stealing the bear meat.
Who's the fucking worst?
Who?
Mari. It's always Mari.
Why is she the worst?
Because she's always the worst. She's so mean.
She is mean. That is true.
If they aren't setting her up for Pit Girl, I don't know what they're doing. But I also wrote Mari as Antler Queen, because if I could see anyone ritual killing for fun and finding a way to rationalize it, it's Mari.
That's true. I had a thought, like, while I was watching the scene, and we get Coach here talking to the girls saying, like, are you going to eat me?
I could not believe, my jaw dropped.
Yeah, me too. I was like, oh, damn, he said it. But I thought here, I was watching them and they're all sort of at each other's throats, and they're either picking on each other, or they're upset, or they're sullen. And obviously I get it. It's cold and they barely have any food. But I wanted to give them a Jack speech. I wanted to be like, dude, either we're going to live together or we're going to die alone, bitches.
Oh my God. Yes.
That's
what they needed.
Yeah. And they don't have anybody that is a leader, really, or taking the lead in a way that is constructive, and it's to their detriment, I think. And like, I don't even want to sit here and be like, oh, well, they're teenage girls, because I'm not a jerk. I have enough faith that a group of people, regardless of their age, they're old enough and capable enough, could figure out how to live together and not hate one another in order to survive. But sometimes I just feel like they're just really leaning into the sullen teenager part of this. And I'm just not sure how I feel about that, or if I believe that that would be how, at this point, the group might be reacting. So I wanted to get your thoughts on that.
I wonder if they lost that person in Jackie. Think back to season 1 when she was the one that would rally them all together, and
it's true.
We're all going to say something nice about each other, and no fighting, and we're a team.
Yeah, you're right. Because she was the team captain, essentially.
Right.
And I remember that speech, from the coach saying, like, you're not the best.
Right.
Or the fastest or anything, but you do know how to lead the group. So that's a good point. You're right.
Yeah, you're the most popular.
Yeah. So that's why I'm feeling that so hard through these first four episodes, because I didn't feel this way with the first season.
And Coach leaning into the sniping and griping.
Right, exactly. Right. When really it should be him, even though
and that's why he's going to die next.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
I thought it was really telling when Coach says, and if it was me, would you eat me? Or what would you do? Would you eat me? Mari, before that, had said, I think, he just thinks he's so much better than us. He really solidified that divide by not joining in the feast. There's so much shame around that, and there's so much significance around them doing it together that he just thoroughly fucked himself.
That's true.
So
but
that
I did. There was a moment where I was like, "Come on, man, come on! You do need to come back. These are, oh, dude, these are kids."
Or if you're going to survive this,
Right?
here's your way back in.
I'm like, you need to step up or figure it out somehow. Yeah, whether it's joining in and getting them back on your side, or whether it is somehow finding a way to get them to respect your authority. Like, it would probably be beneficial for you in the long run and also for the group. So I wonder if there'll be a tipping point, or, you know, how long it will take to kind of get things shaken out, whether it's because we lose him and people divide into two teams, or whether somebody sort of steps up now that Jackie's gone. I wonder if that's just going to kind of be a season. It'll probably be like a season long thing, really.
That's what I would think.
This is all still like sort of the ramifications and the aftermath of Jackie's death, and then what occurred after that.
You know, notice how Mari stepped to him.
Oh, yeah.
Fight him.
Right? I know. I was like, oh, shit.
But Nat was the one who got in between those two. So maybe Nat will emerge, maybe paired with Ty, and they'll be like co-leaders, or I don't know. I'm focused on the divide between the Lottie believers and the non-believers.
Right.
And who's in the middle, and focused on that divide, that split. Because I don't know how you can continue to coalesce with such vastly different belief systems.
No.
What? Mari telling Nat that she's not providing enough for them.
Right?
What are you doing, Mari? Oh,
dude,
sorry, Mari.
That ticked me off so much. And then it was like, yeah, no kidding. Like, what have you done? What has anybody done?
Looking for a drip. So, yeah, dissing Nat's hunting skills and saying basically everything we've gotten for months has been thanks to Lottie. We don't have food. It's your fault, Nat.
Like,
Mari
is ridiculous.
She's terrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I love that she came back and was like, well, at least I'm out there trying.
Exactly.
Because that is true.
It is true.
I'd be pissed if I was her too. I'd be like, what are you guys doing? I mean, we don't want people to die, but hell, I would begin to get resentful too if I was the only one or one of two people going out every single day desperately trying to find food while everybody else sits inside and bitches.
Yeah. I would want to say, okay, well then I just won't go out anymore.
Yeah.
Clearly I'm not doing anything. So
So they have the idea for the contest.
Yep. And Misty's thrilled that she gets to be the contest runner. Was it like 1-on-1, no help? If you find a kill, you leave it. We'll come get it. If you're not back by sundown, we go out and find you, but you're disqualified, right?
Yeah. So just the fact that like when Nat finds the moose in the ice and she came back and they were like, well, we can't help her. She's not supposed to have help. I'm like, well, no, wasn't it that she had to find it and then you guys were going to go back and help?
Well, it's what's more important. Do you want food or do you want us to play this fucking contest out?
Exactly. Right?
Mari says, I'm going to tell Lottie.
Okay. Cool. Let's go get some food. Good grief. Like, what?
I noted that in making the rules, Misty says, like, oh, we only have one gun. I guess we could draw cards for it. The cards come back.
Oh, yeah, the card comes back. Yeah.
You know, way of figuring out who has what role or role they don't
So
want.
what was your thought then? That's a great point. Okay. So what was your thought then on the Queen of Hearts?
With the eyes scratched out.
Right.
I mean, I think that's the death card.
Yeah. So does she have it for real?
It has blood on it. No, she's looking at her gratitude cards. Right. We're talking about the end with Lottie.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for my friends. And she sees the bloody Queen of Hearts card and gets upset.
So you think that that's an hallucination?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I don't think she'd keep something like that.
Okay. Because I thought it could be. Or the fact that she even has it. I wonder if that like speaks to something that'll happen where she drew it, but somehow managed to get out of it.
Ooh.
If it was the death card.
But then they didn't play anymore? Play.
I don't know. Yeah, play. Yeah.
Use it anymore?
Yeah. But it was very interesting. Also that shot of the card and her flipping through it is in the opening credits of the season.
I noted that. Yeah. All right. So more of Nat and Lisa in the car.
I do like the way that she's just asking her questions. just to get her to
yeah.
think about.
Question the cult and her faith in it and Lottie.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Very smart about it.
Yeah, very smart.
Okay, Lottie at her psychiatrist's office. Creepy, sus psychiatrist being
Very
creepy.
creepy. And definitely very weird.
So weird. Sabbaticals don't just happen on a whim or like short notice.
Mm-mm.
And if your doctor or mental health medication prescriber is going on sabbatical,
Right.
you're alerted by the office.
Exactly. You wouldn't
And
just show up and have somebody different.
no, and here's who's going to
Yeah.
be taking over, covering his patients while he's gone.
Mm-hmm.
So she wouldn't just walk into a new doctor.
Right.
And that doctor, when Lottie brought up the visions having come back, that doctor perked right up. Did you catch that?
I didn't know.
She looked so interested. She was like, huh?
Hmm.
Really?
So then what is your theory on that then? About like her level of interest, and do you think it's
I think it's nefarious.
okay?
I don't have a fully formed theory around it, but everything about that was wrong about that appointment.
Yeah.
Like,
so you feel like maybe this person somehow got access to this office, maybe even in a troubling way,
yeah,
and infiltrated the session.
how would that work?
I don't know.
Unless it's like a really tiny private office with like
Right.
one receptionist and one doctor.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, mine is kind of
see
like that where it's just her. So I guess if there's not even a receptionist, she just rents, a space in a building. So I guess if you like had a key and could get in when you knew she wasn't gonna be there, you could.
you sabbatical the doctor,
Yeah.
and then you
Yeah.
access a Yellowjacket
Right.
cult leader.
That'll be interesting.
Well, and then Lottie's parents, we've talked
Mhm.
about them before as possible people behind.
Mhm.
But why would they want her to dig into her visions?
I don't know. We did get confirmation that she hadn't had them in a very, very long time.
Did I tell you that I read or I heard an interview with the writers where they confirmed that all this stuff is new? This whole like the wilderness, we brought it back with us. It's back. The visions, Ty's altar being active. It's all supposed to be new. Like
No, you didn't mention that, but that is good to know because I've wondered. I think I even asked that either last week or in the one we didn't post, where I said, yeah, like have they been having? Has this stuff been happening over the years, or is this like something has activated it now?
Yeah, so I think that's canon.
Okay.
Something has activated it now amongst the group, the survivors in present day. Yeah. So as she says, the visions are new, they've come back. And she says something interesting, or maybe just saying like it can't happen again. Like when it did happen, something bad happened.
Yeah, well, she says it can't happen again, and she also wants it to, it's like her and Ty, it's like, can't this be enough?
Well, what I found interesting was in present day, we see Lottie encouraging her followers, get rid of your meds. Let the feelings come.
Oh, true.
Let them move through you. Let them pass, and you'll be okay. The way Lisa said, I'd wean myself off the medication.
Mm-hmm.
Depression, I'll have that forever, but I'm living with it, or I'm learning how to live with it. Meanwhile, Lottie's saying, up my meds. She's been suppressing it this whole time. Yeah.
Well, there's a difference too between depression, and bipolar depression specifically, I guess, and being somebody who has hallucinations,
absolutely.
Yeah. I can understand going like, hey, let's try to avoid antidepressants for, something like major depressive disorder versus I'm not going to take my meds, but I'm schizophrenic. I suppose, right? I mean, is that?
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah. It's correct. But
I do get what you're saying. She's still being deceptive to some extent because she's pushing one thing, but not actually practicing that.
Right. Practice what you preach.
Yeah.
I'm going to the bank, not I'm going to my psychiatrist.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just Misty setting the rules, and then Shauna learns about Callie.
Yes.
Callie
And you mentioned too the group, gathering them together.
Right. Who's helping who?
Right. Yeah.
We see Ty and Travis and two other people that I couldn't make out around now. And then you've got Van, Misty, Crystal, SAT girl, I'm calling her. I will look up her name. Helping Lottie. And Mari, of course. Mari doing the
So it does almost seem like a ritual, cloaking them, preparing them. Yeah.
Like a religious ceremony or a ceremonial thing.
Yeah. So probably just another step in that direction of us seeing it turn into that.
Yep.
And then they set out and we begin to see the symbol on the trees. And Lottie gets the one, she puts her hand on it.
Nothing happens.
And nothing happens.
And then she finds the altar tree and decides all Ilvu sang this altar tree and see what happens.
What does that mean? I saw that in the notes.
I'm sorry. That's my new favorite thing to write. It or he wants blood.
Okay. Got it.
7 years of French and a year of being a French TA. I'd forgotten that il can mean either it or he.
It or he, right, yeah.
Yay me.
Yeah, il and vu I got, but sang I wasn't sure.
It wants blood, he wants blood. Giving it some blood.
Yeah. So you said, does Jackie count as an offering?
Right, because she was a bloodless death.
Right.
But they got the biggest feast out of it.
Yeah. I don't know if she could be counted as an offering because they didn't kill her ceremoniously.
Right.
So it wasn't like they were sacrificing anything. It was an accident.
And then the wilderness god decided, I'm going to make it an offering.
Yeah. Now, Javi might be a little bit more considered more of an offering. Not that he's dead, obviously, we know that now, but since he's still alive, perhaps there's something to that.
Follow the symbols, get a reward.
Yeah.
Believe in me.
Right.
Be rewarded.
Exactly.
That's interesting.
So, all right, at Kohl's, Shauna learns that Callie hasn't been staying at Alana's by Alana's mother.
Shocker.
Father.
No, I said shocker.
Shocker. Oh.
Shock.
Yes. Super shocked. Yeah. But it just, I always feel bad when like a parent learns something like that in front of another parent. So you're just like, oh, so they're pretending to not be as surprised as they are. And
I'm a terrible parent.
Yeah. Okay. And the other parent's just awkward, like, okay, gonna go now. But I just thought as that parent, you're going, okay, she's going home going, you're not allowed to hang out with Shauna anymore. Or not Shauna, you're not allowed to hang out with Callie anymore.
Right.
But yeah, so she learns that and goes searching for answers and then, finds what she finds. The condom and the piece of Adam's burnt ID. So she goes and picks her up.
And says, let's have some unplanned fun. That's what makes it fun. I was surprised that Callie got in the car.
Yeah, I was too.
I thought there'd be more pushback. Good for Shauna for pulling that out.
Yeah, it was good. It worked. But yeah, I didn't think she was going to get in the car either.
Misty and Walt in the diner.
Yes. Misty and Walt in the diner. Okay, so Walt doesn't have a job and is a multimillionaire.
And a metal plate in his head.
And it has a metal plate in his head.
And it's on YouTube. You can look it up. What really threw me off was, today is Tuesday? Come on with that luck.
Right.
He just happened to plan the road trip for the day when the cult happens to be at the farmer's market. The one day a week, a Tuesday.
I mean, that has to, and again, Misty's overlooking stuff that It's like, that's a little too coincidental.
Or maybe not. Maybe thinking I'm using him back to get Nat, to get my
True.
friend.
Yeah, who's playing who? And then Ty is walking and she gets picked up by a truck driver
Who likes nudie pens.
who likes nudie pens.
Who voted
I
for
did
her?
think it was funny how she was like, how much do you want for it?
What do you think that was about?
Well, there were a couple thoughts I had. One thought was, oh, she's bringing it to Van
Okay.
because she thinks Van would like it. But the other thought was that I was just wondering if it was sort of a little bit of a cue that, like, I like women and it's that.
Yeah, I think that makes absolute sense.
And then after she did that and said that, it kind of seemed to put like both of them more at ease.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. And it did make me think, like, if I'm picking up an elected official on the side of the road like that, I'm probably going to have some questions. So I don't know. I also wonder if that was like a way to just kind of bond and keep him from probing deeper into why she's hitchhiking.
I see your shame. You see
Yeah.
mine. Let's move forward. I think that's a very smart take. Mari's hearing the dripping sound. I don't care about Mari. SAT girl finds the mouse. I don't really care about the mouse. It was cute.
I wondered, what is it a problem to have a pet, or if there are mice, then maybe the mice are eating the food.
They're not eating frozen bear meat.
Yeah. I felt like it was more of like she wanted to be able to have a little pet.
Something that was hers.
Right, yeah. Well, and in the present day, we have the search for like the goldfish. So this one little thing that she could have that's hers, that she can care for at the cult. And then in the past, we sort of have the same thing, but just with, a different character under different circumstances, but still, a living being that's small.
Not a traditional pet.
But something that could be kept alive and therefore maybe give that character a sense of purpose in some way.
And some hope.
Yeah, hope, responsibility, stuff like that.
Yeah, keep them going.
Yeah. I am curious about the dripping.
I want to say it's related to the tunnels, right?
Oh, right, like the melting snow. Yeah.
Yeah. That or Mari is schisming a little bit.
Yeah. No, I like the idea that there's heat coming from somewhere. That makes more sense.
It seems to be the common theme with the tree stumps and
yeah. You're right. I can't believe I didn't make that connection. So from there, we cut to tree stump altar with Lottie, who cuts her palm. Where are we? Now I'm distracted.
Shauna and Callie in the no-cell zone.
Ah, yes.
So that speaks to my theory about maybe Callie genuinely being afraid of her mom. Mm-hmm. That she takes me to a no-cell phone zone to ask me, what do I know? And what am I lying about?
Yeah.
That would be a little terrifying.
That is terrifying.
And then you find out she's a legit murderer. And she said something like, you killed someone that didn't do anything or didn't deserve it.
Right. If you're going to tell her,
I know.
Tell her everything, I think is really what I was thinking.
I guess she assumed, can this be enough for now?
Right.
Really was enough. Like that offering. Yeah. And that acceptance by Callie was enough to make them, quote, good, unquote.
Right, yeah. It just bugs me. I remember being around that age and maybe a little older even, but a teenager, feeling that way about my mom, where there might be something I didn't understand or a way that she was acting or reacting to something. And she just never wanted to talk about certain things.
Yeah.
I would always get the like, oh, when you're older. Mm-hmm. And so as an older teenager, that started to bug me. And then when she did finally decide to share certain things, she wouldn't share all of it. She would just share like a little bit. I'm like, if you're going to tell me, why not just tell me everything? And why are you being so weirdly protective or secretive of this?
Right.
I remember feeling very confused by that. And I know my sister felt or feels the same way. So I guess that was a little triggering for me, as the kids say.
So sorry. But, it's that right to information. I'm part of this family. I'm old enough now to be brought into the loop.
And as a teenager, you feel so much more grown up and independent than you necessarily are yet. It's such a tough age. It's such a tough time. It's like as an adult, you understand, but you also understand that a teenager also wants to be taken seriously. And like you said, brought into the trust circle.
Right.
And it's hard to understand why that might, like, why a parent might not do that.
Well, and I think Jeff speaks to that in the end when
Mhm.
he and Shauna are talking, when he learns that she gave Callie some info.
Right.
You know, it's like we only get one chance to do
Right.
this right.
Mhm.
We can't fuck it up.
Yeah. And I thought he certainly had a right to be upset that she didn't discuss it with him first.
Absolutely.
I mean, I know there's some situations where you're in the moment and something happens and you feel like, I have to do this right now. The window is right now.
But
But
Shauna planned it out.
exactly. And that's
It's
the
just,
problem.
yeah, it's more of the, one step forward, two steps back
Right.
of
Mhm.
Shauna and Jeff being honest with each other.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I like what you said here. What? So she can share about killing Adam, Jeff's blackmail, but can't talk about 19 months in the wilderness. I mean, she could have even said, just like, look, we had to survive out there. And because of that, there are things that we had to do that I'm not comfortable talking about. But it was because of survival. And maybe one day I will be able to talk about it more.
Callie asks, why did Dad think he could blackmail the Yellowjackets for money? And then she says, because they did. Well, because we did things out there that we're really ashamed of. I'm assuming that Sean is assuming that survival is that's indicated.
Right.
They didn't do it for fun.
Yeah. So then we go back to the past where Van shows Ty the map of the trees with their symbols. And Van can't understand why Ty won't see what's right in front of her.
And she says that. She's
Yeah.
like, it's right in front of you. All right. I was kind of on Ty's side. Like, it's a bit of a reach. Like, you could make any symbol with string and a bunch of tacks, thumbtacks on a map.
If the map, if all of those symbols are at points that form the symbol, I guess what's happening in each of those points.
What I did like about the scene though was again how Van is so gentle with Ty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And how frustrated she is, especially, but
Yeah.
still being able to ask for Ty to take this leap of faith with her, being so gentle and kind and loving about it,
Right.
about the way she's doing it. And she's rewarded because Ty goes with her.
I feel like at this point she should trust her. So I don't really like it, but it's probably coming from her own insecurity and her own fear on what's happening to her.
That would be terrifying.
Yeah.
You somehow know about these symbols.
Right.
How is that possible?
Yeah.
If it's not connected with this harbinger of death,
Yeah.
which it appears to be, which makes it even more frightening, I can understand Ty shutting down around that subject.
Yeah.
It reminded me of when, during Doom's Coming, when Ty gets Van to be willing to take the mask off of her face.
Mm-hmm.
How sweet they are with each other.
Yeah.
And how good they are and protective, and
yeah,
they make each other feel safe. And I love their love story.
I agree. I do too. I will be excited to see what unfolds with them when we actually get,
oh my God,
more time.
I love the name of her store while you were streaming.
Oh, I know. I do too. It was so good.
Was amazing. So clever.
I do too. I was like, that's really cool. I like that with the video cassette, as the
yeah. If Mari's the worst, Van is the best.
Yes. We have another memory fighting Paul's history book of past lovers, but I thought that was a sweet little moment between them.
I heard the writers talking about those flash sideways or the memories.
Uh-huh.
And they said that they wanted to depict in real time what it would look like in one's mind if one were kind of giving up and dying.
Yeah.
And that was the purpose of these scenes.
Yeah.
What was important to him?
Yeah. Remembering like all of the important moments or turning point moments.
Mm-hmm. Or highlights.
Yeah.
All the above. You, Ben, are my future.
Mm-hmm. I feel so sad for him. It's really hard to like watch him.
I know.
Go through this and then think about those moments. I mean, it's very confronting too.
We're watching a dying mind.
Yeah. It just makes you think about how
How are you spending your
Yeah, how are
days?
you spending your time? And
Yeah.
you know, would you, if this happened to you, would you feel happy about all the choices you've made, or would you feel regret? So I definitely can feel that through his story. It's sad and beautiful, and I feel for him.
Yeah.
But it's a good device, I think, that they're using.
Yeah, I'm not as annoyed at it as I
Yeah.
was when
Yeah.
it first appeared,
Mhm.
especially now, kind of knowing the
Yeah.
rationale behind it.
And then back to Lisa arguing with her mom, and her mom not letting her take the fish with her, which, seriously, just let her take the damn fish.
Well, and what does the gnat do? Here's your fucking fish. Flip.
Oh my God, that was so funny.
So gross.
And just really, I think, you know, probably solidified a bond between Nat and Lisa going forward.
Oh yeah. She got
So,
my fish for me. She got
yeah,
14th of Gilly. And that sweet talk they have at the end in the
right.
bar about
Mhm.
not today.
Oh yeah, that was a really moving scene. I liked
Especially
it too. I liked like how she equated that, you know, I don't want to die today, and then she pushed the alcohol to the side.
right, with
That,
sobriety.
yeah. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
just felt like that was a really great representation of what sobriety can be like.
I'm loving what the writers are doing around mental health
Hmm.
subjects.
Yeah, me too.
I think the way they're writing about it is really great. It's refreshing.
Yeah.
I really liked the callback to part of Lisa's hurt at Nat stabbing her with a fork. When Lisa was talking with such sincerity about how jarring it was to find Nat in that motel room with a gun in her mouth.
Right. Yeah.
Lisa seemed to really, she was like, I thought you understood that we were trying to help you
Hmm.
and that we were taking care of you. And
Hmm.
then you rewarded us with violence. It was a nice way to put a button on Lisa's feelings around Nat.
Yeah.
Her.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And kind of a coming to terms between them of like, okay.
I care.
Hmm.
You seem to care.
Yeah.
You got my fish back. And, funny that Nat's lie ended up being true. I
Hmm.
thought it'd be a good way to bond.
Then we've got Misty and Walt at the farmer's market asking where the purple people are. But she's close to finding Nat, so that's great.
Walt just happened to have a contingency plan
Hmm.
if this were to happen.
Super convenient.
That's Walt, the B&B.
Which was just adorable.
The best, with the best music drop.
I know, it was so
That
good.
montage, I loved every second
I
of it.
did too. I did too. I was
I
wondering so many things about it. I'm like, how much of this is about like cleanliness? How much of this is about like, okay, I'm checking the place out and making sure that it's, you know, not bugged and it's whatever.
Right.
Like, it was just so funny to me. Okay, so you were talking about how it feels like he knows too much about her and all of this is too much of a coincidence. But like watching them both mutually set their rooms up the way that they like, that's kind of an argument for them just kind of being very similar, don't you think? Like to
I
me, that
do.
kind of pushes back against the he knows too much about her.
I think both can be true. I think it speaks to why they're both citizen detectives,
Hmm.
probably like gold star
Yeah.
level on the board. Is between them, like he has a fish sounds to fall asleep to, and she's got kittens or vice versa.
Yeah.
That there are differences. I'm Moriarty, not Holmes.
Hmm.
I think just warning, like it's not all cutesy
Right.
cutesy.
Yeah. It looks similar, but it's different.
Yeah, we're not
Yeah.
necessarily soulmates.
Well, and
We're
he said too, like that Walt can't be trusted, I
he
believe.
has
Yeah,
come
he
out.
did. He said it somewhere, another interview. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Mhm.
I love that scene.
I did too. It was just so well done. And then Nat returns super breathless with the news of the moose that she saw in the ice. I'm assuming this is the same moose that she saw
Yeah,
previously.
yeah, the symbolic white moose. Because I wrote, what does it mean that she lost it?
Right.
Is that
Exactly.
bad luck? Is that
That's
an
what I was wondering
omen?
too.
Yeah.
What
So,
does this mean? You know, the
yeah.
losing of the white moose. We talked last week about like what it symbolized.
Uh-huh.
Therefore, you know, the things that it symbolized, that to me then would speak to some of the things that they might be losing.
And Nat almost killing herself to not lose it. But again, speaking to the provider that she is, she was like, we need it for food. It could have kept us going.
That said, it does say that killing a white moose is said to bring bad luck.
Ooh.
So in that regard, perhaps it is a good thing.
Dodged a bullet.
Yeah. So also if it's meant to embody like wisdom and strength and be a good omen, then the fact that they lose that is probably also just more of a foreboding of that, like, they're probably going to have as Nat said last week, things are going to get worse.
Eesh, I think you're right. I liked the way that Nat and Lottie came together at the end. Like, good game.
I did too.
Yeah. But I jumped over Lottie's vision.
So yes, well, which is important. Yeah. All right. So Lottie finds the airplane and the hatch.
I was thrown at first. Like, what was there a second plane?
I know. I was so confused.
Did Laura Lee's plane not blow up? And then I realized, oh, we're in a hallucination vision.
So where does the hallucination start? So like, I mean, the plane did blow up. So the entire thing, all of it was a hallucination. Where would that hallucination have begun?
Well, she was at the altar kneeling and she spills blood and then she falls asleep.
Okay.
Or goes into a vision.
For whatever reason, and I don't know if that's just because it was far enough apart, like in the episode, that it just took me a while to to understand what was going on.
Me too. Maybe just spilling blood.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They're, so weak and hungry.
Yeah. And perhaps that offering is the blood offering is also meant to provide answers. So isn't this enough? And can't you give me some information? And then she's rewarded with the hallucination.
But what is she rewarded with? Is Laura Lee the wilderness god, pushing her out, literally, like, but it didn't save her either.
I know. That's why I felt like it was confusing. I'm like, what is the point of this hallucination? What are we supposed to be taking away from this? Or what is Lottie supposed to be taking away from this?
I don't think anything.
Yeah. Which then what's the point?
Which makes the psychiatrist even more suspect.
Yeah.
I can't speak to what the writers are trying to
of course.
tell us.
Yeah.
I mean, not even intelligently as a viewer. So,
but definitely, I guess, obviously worth noting. But yeah, I wasn't really sure where that fit in the bigger picture of the story that's unfolding this season. Maybe it'll be more in focus, as we go along.
Because all that happens by Laura Lee pushing her out of the vision is that Lottie falls back.
Right.
And she's asleep in the snow versus kneeling in the snow.
I mean, if we were looking at it on a technical level, okay, she cut her hand and dripped blood, and then maybe she passed out and she had a, dream hallucination while she was passed out. And then her subconscious was like, wake up or you're going to die. And so she did.
But she didn't. The girls found her passed out.
Oh, they found her. Yeah.
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 So
either way, that tells me that it didn't work. She didn't accomplish what she had set out to accomplish. So perhaps then that's just like another example of like Nat, even though the moose went away, like she actually found another animal and that's reality and that's what's happening. But Lottie didn't find any animal and she didn't even come back with useful information.
Right. But the girls are so invested.
Right.
In Lottie having powers.
Exactly.
That's more important to them than food.
Right. And it helps them to assign meaning and significance and gives them something to hold on to, even though there's not a whole lot of logic to that.
Which is all about control.
Right. And then if you cross that with like present day, in some ways that can be what adult Lottie is doing too. She's trying to sell a bill of goods, if you will.
The illusion of
right. Yeah.
Have control of your mental illness, of your fears, of your worries. I can show you the way. Well, she's monetizing it. She's monetized her trauma.
Like, hey, I'm good at this. I can get people to believe and trust in me that I know what I'm talking about and I can help them. And so why not continue doing that? Yeah.
She built her brand.
So then they go to try and help Nat get the moose. That doesn't go well. I did feel for her. That was really shitty. I was really sad that it floated away.
There was
like,
no way.
No. I mean, what an awful feeling to like have this.
I know.
Yeah. They probably should have talked about it a little bit more.
Planned
a little better before they just did it.
Cut and pull.
Yeah. Because that is a massive animal, and they did not have the manpower to be able to pull that out the way they did.
And your shoes have no grip.
No. Yeah.
On a frozen lake. And what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then Lottie, present day, haunted by the visions. We talked about that. And the important part, that can this just be enough, please?
Mm-hmm.
Indicating that blood was spilled in the past.
Right.
Yeah. So maybe we're seeing that the Antler Queen stuff and any ritual sacrificing for cannibalistic food was kind of taken out of Lottie's hands.
Mm-hmm.
Corrupted by people like Mari, perhaps.
Right. Yeah. Corrupted. Yeah. Used for. Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then, yeah, Van and Ty find Javi while they are looking for the tree symbols.
Which they don't find.
And they did notice that there's more melting of ice, which, again, we discussed that earlier. But yeah, Javi's alive and yet not saying anything.
Running away from them.
Yeah. And just seems totally confused.
And mute.
So that'll be interesting. I really have no prediction other than what we said earlier. He didn't seem excited or relieved.
No, not even with Travis.
Yeah. So that was a bit strange. They need to do something that will bond them.
And increase morale.
Right. Yeah. And be a little fun. And yeah. Nat's pondering about breaking into Lottie's cabinet. I wonder what she wants from there.
I wonder what.
Or she just wants to see what's inside.
Yeah. And we get the adult Van. He looks like they haven't seen each other in years, because it takes Van a minute to recognize Ty.
Yeah, it does take her a minute, which, I mean, I think she looks pretty similar to the way that she did when she was a teenager, but that's just me. I thought that, like, that's some of the best casting, in my opinion. I think they look very much alike.
Absolutely.
Tawny and her teen counterpart, yeah.
Same with Shauna, I think.
Yeah, agreed. But yeah, she seemed happy, relieved, confused to see her. So I'm really excited to learn what happened. Van appears to be doing fine, but again, I think that's the point. You know, they all appear to be doing fine initially until they're, you know, it's revealed that they're not. So
right. How has the wilderness been pulling her back?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
In what ways?
Yeah.
Which hopefully we'll learn.
And, you know, with Van believing so much, and all of them, you know, not all of them, but the ones that were like, well, Lottie knew that Javi was alive. He knew, you know, and then Van really goes to bat for Ty, saying, well, you knew where he was.
Yeah.
And there's something deep inside you connected to all of this. That's a lot of pressure for Ty. So perhaps that's also a fracture point between them. Perhaps Ty doesn't want that pressure and doesn't necessarily see it in the same way that Van does.
And no matter how gentle her approach.
Exactly. Yeah.
It becomes too much.
Yeah.
Which also speaks to Ty having an altar.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do this.
I can't deal with it. Yeah. Oh, I also thought, just a little side note, I thought that it was nice that Nat was so willing to like give up the hot bath to Lottie when she comes back in.
I know. They were so sweet with each other.
Yeah. You know, at the end of the day, even though they're at odds and it's a high stress situation, I think that they want to help each other and love each other and not feel hopeless.
I think that they would argue we are not at odds. We were pitted.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Which they were. Yeah.
They were by Mari.
Right. And it doesn't have to be that way.
No.
Yeah.
Eat Mari next.
There we go. I like that idea. Because she's the worst.
That's the title of the episode. Mari is the worst.
Mari's the worst.
I was thinking about how Coach Ben might realistically be the next to be eaten.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I wonder if Misty is still salty about what went down at Doomscoming. You know, I don't want you. I don't need you. Stay away from me. Get away from me. I do
think Ben is probably like next on the list. My only issue with that is that I think that would be stupid of them to kill off the one adult that's there that's also a man, even though he's injured still.
But I was imagining a scenario where Misty like trips him viciously, where he breaks the other leg. And then it becomes
justifies it.
Well, yeah, it becomes like the rules of nature.
Survival of the fittest.
Exactly. The benefit of the group versus.
You may have mentioned this, but last week, I can't remember, what if he takes himself out?
Oh, I didn't mention that. I don't
You
think
didn't?
I mentioned
Yeah,
that.
okay.
That here's Dark Alyssia.
Here's Dark Alyssia's thought for the day. What if Coach Ben decides he wants to go out? If he starts to see the writing on the wall, he may unalive himself.
I don't think he's there yet.
Before they can do it. But no, I agree. I don't think he's there yet either. But and sort of thinking about other ways that they might end up coming to eat him without it being them hunting him and choosing.
Well, that wouldn't be much of a hunt, would it?
Exactly. Yeah. It'd be awful. And if they talked about like the writers, if they're talking about like a dying man's sort of thoughts as he's, I think that implies that he's not going to make it. So, or he gets sick. I mean, it's still very likely that he could get sick for one reason or another and not make it because he's not strong enough.
Right. I keep going back to what we saw in the trailer for the season. That shot of Ty leading everyone carrying a footed person on a stick.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And we only see one shoe.
Right.
And I'm wondering, does Coach Ben fall? Do they have to carry him back to the cabin? Like what could have happened?
Something happened, yeah.
Or that could be an other that they find.
True.
Like in the finale.
Yeah.
A hurt person, a hurt other.
Perhaps they have to move for one reason or another.
I was rewatching the pilot to watch the scenes of Pit Girl per death to look for signs of it being ritualistic.
Right.
Or ritualized,
So, all right. Well,
I think that's it.
That's it. Yeah. As the characters are, we too have been searching for meaning and answers and truth in the episode. And hopefully more will be revealed about Adult Van next episode. And we'll get to maybe, I don't know. What would you want for the next episode? What kind of answers would you hope to get next week?
Why Van and Ty broke up, but I don't think we'll get that.
I want to know that. And I want to know where Hobby's been.
Oh, God, of course.
Yeah. Those are like the two big answers I would like to get next week. So we'll see.
I will bet money he does not speak a word.
Yeah, you're probably right. Probably right. Well, all right, guys. Thank you for listening. And we'd love to hear your comments and ideas on what you thought about the episode and any theories you might have. And if you haven't subscribed already and you're interested in hearing more content about Yellowjackets and other mystery box shows, please subscribe and don't forget to hit the bell so that you can get notified when we drop new videos. And other than that, we hope you guys have a good week and we'll be back next week with another episode. Bye. Thanks for joining us. Bye.